Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight, and my guest tonight is filmmaker David Williams and actress Lani Call. How's it going, guys?
Good, good. Thanks for having us. Much appreciated.
Hey, thank you for coming on. I saw your indie horror film, The House of Screaming Glass. It was a very slow burn horror film. So, what decides you to go through the slow burn route on your film?
I think it's just it made sense. It made sense for this to be a film that moved slowly, where you slowly progress as the character progresses. Based almost not real time, but as close to real time as we could possibly get. And in the course of the film, you're never really sure how much time has passed. So is it a day? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? We never really established that. And so there was a reason for that. So I just wanted you to feel her slow progression and her slow journey. Early on in the film, she says, I don't remember the exact line, but she says, moving through the house is like moving through cobwebs or spider webs. Lani, something like that, right? If I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, it was just the idea of time and reality have kind of slowed down for her. And so I wanted the audience to feel that uncertainty and feel that journey, if you will.
Yeah, let's go to Lani. I want to talk about your performance in the film. You did a very powerful, intimate performance. Some of the scenes you did, I mean, I don't know how you did it and how you got your character in certain, like, disturbing situations. And there was a lot of situations that you did in front of the camera, you know, which really kept me at the edge of my seat. So how'd you prepare yourself to do that type of a role like that?
David and I talked a few times. And one of the things David and I really talked about was less is more with the movie. Don't try and play this, just see if you can, less is more, become it. And so obviously I have my own process as an actor, so I have pages and pages of like writing in my journal as Elizabeth. That's something I personally do. But a huge part of my process was actually getting to the schoolhouse and being with the crew. And the crew was extremely supportive and a really safe space for me. And then as you can tell from the film, the schoolhouse in and of itself is a character. It has a feeling. If like you go through it, you feel it, and you're in that place, you're in that character. So I think journaling beforehand and then just being in the setting and it being very real. I'm not at a green screen. We're literally living in this house. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we were there for 10 days?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we all, we lived there, we slept there, we ate there, we made a movie there. Yeah. Lani, I mean, pretty much every review that I've read, even the ones that are not so positive, have all said that, you're fantastic in the film. And yes, you are. You are amazing in the film. And so thank you.
Now, let's talk about the schoolhouse. I totally do agree with you. It's like the character in the film. It kind of reminded me of a demonic type of character that was alive, that was sucking Elizabeth into the house, to show her some, disturbing things and what's going on with her life and the secret of her family's history, with her grandmother, who passed away, which left her the schoolhouse. I love how you draw in the film goer and seeing through her eyes what's really going on with the secret family history, how she finds these mysterious photo albums with all these, old vintage photos, and learning the, true secret of her family, which really did get me into it. And I don't know, about Elizabeth's character just sucked me into it. I had to see if she's going to solve this mystery, or something crazy is going to happen to her. I love the film shots, how you would film Lani playing Elizabeth through the whole house. I love how you were doing the fast motion camera shots, going, like around circles real quick, like she was really, going in depth inside this mysterious, like, hell of this schoolhouse.
Yeah, a lot of those shots were done with it's a camera rig. It's called a snorri cam. So it's basically this rig that you strap onto Lani, and the camera is basically right there. We used a wide angle lens, so the camera's here, and every time she moves, it also moves. So that created a lot of that kind of herky-jerky, kind of a falling forward motion almost. And then in post-production, we kind of tweaked it just a bit. And that kind of added to the whole dreamlike, nightmare-like, non-reality of that space. And I actually found the schoolhouse on Airbnb. Excuse me. I don't know why. I don't know what I was looking for, but I saw that, and I'm thinking that would be a great place to make a movie. So I reached out to the owner of the place, Nick, and we spoke briefly, and I told him I was interested in making a film there. But I wanted to go there first, look around, get a feel for it. So I went out there for a weekend, wandered about that space, and it was like, it's just like room after room of strangeness. And I'm like, yeah, this is a movie. We have to make this. And that was actually about a year before we got. So then while I was there, I made like all kinds of notes. This room is this, and that room is that. And then I spent the better part of the year working on the script. And there were multiple drafts. The early drafts were probably much more of your traditional 3-act, storyline structure. I worked with Costanza and Tom on script, and as we worked through it, I found myself streamlining it, because I knew that I didn't want to be locked into, okay, I'm going to shoot this, I'm going to shoot this, I'm going to shoot this, and this is how I'm going to shoot it. I wanted instead to basically say, okay, we're going to shoot in this room, and then this is basically or generally how I want to shoot it and what I want to shoot, and this is the feeling that and so we basically took what in most cases would be, say, a 90 or 100 minute script, or I'm sorry, a 90 to 120 page script, and I think the actual shooting script was maybe 30 pages, and it was there. It was mostly just a laundry list of, I want to get this shot, and I want to get this feeling. So I think it was more of a script that was less technical and more feeling. More, I want to show her progression through the house, and also her progression into her madness, and as she learns things, and I didn't want to be too obvious, so she finds a book of old photographs. Who are these people? Maybe they're relatives, maybe they're friends of her grandmother's, maybe it's just a random book of photographs. We never really know. And then she finds the nude shots. Is that her grandmother when she was much younger? Probably, but not necessarily, and then she finds the book, the Necronomicon. It's and it's like, okay, why does my grandmother have this? And then it gets crazy.
Yeah, that Necronomicon you're talking about, I know you gave a nod. That gave me the Evil Dead vibes. It reminded me of the Evil Dead book. I was like, oh wow, Elizabeth found the Evil Dead book. So is she in the Evil Dead universe, and something's gonna be crazy happening? So when she opened that that book, who did all those demonic, eerie, creepy sketches? Those were like so lifelike. Felt like it was coming out of the book.
You don't have the artist's name written here, unfortunately. And I had that made for another film like 15 years ago. And it's been sitting in my closet ever since. And I knew one of these days I would use it for something. And this was it. This is perfect for this. Yeah. And but yeah, it's an amazing work of art. Just, I don't know. It had to have taken them who knows how long to do that, but it's amazing. It's an amazing book, an incredible artwork.
Yeah. Now, Lani, let's talk about your character Elizabeth, where you kept on playing in the piano. That scene with the piano and everything, and you see something like right behind you, that got under my skin, man. I just felt like chills going up my arm, I mean, I would hate to be playing a piano and you don't know something's coming like it, and you're just, oh, I know, that scene just got me.
Well, something I'll say about the whole process was it was very freeing. David would just start the camera and he would look at me and be like, just go. And he just let me do whatever I wanted, and he captured it. And I haven't worked with a director with that kind of process before. Normally they're pretty cut and dry, but he wouldn't stop until I had stopped. And so everything felt like he could feel what I was feeling. I could feel it was just really lovely. And yes, that scene was very terrifying. I'll say one other thing that I've been thinking about. One of the reviews talked, they were saying how this film was maddening for them. They were like, oh, it was so slow. It was like maddening. And I was really excited when I read that, because I was like, brilliant. How many films do you know out there that really like put you in an uncomfortable situation where you're feeling exactly what this character is feeling? It's maddening what she's going through, hence what she becomes. And so a lot of films just tell your story and you can feel connected to it, but how often are you actually experiencing what they are? And so even though the review was more on the negative side, I was thrilled. I was like, that's the best review you could get. So.
Yep.
Hey.
No, absolutely. I hate yelling cut. I like to just keep things rolling and see, okay, let's see what happens. Okay, right now I should be yelling cut. I'm not. So let's see what Lani does. Let's see where she takes this. And I find that's a style. I don't know if I want to use the word style, where I like my actors to go off on tangents. Like, okay, you're the actor, you're the character, you understand all this better than I ever could. I'm going to keep the camera rolling, and I'm just going to let you do something. And more often than not, it would be, oh, this is great. This is perfect. Yeah. So, yep.
I'm glad you did that approach with Elizabeth. What Lani just said, how maddening it is. I like it because you see her slowly, progress. I mean, she's like stressing out, getting frustrated, because everything's not going her way. There's certain consequences to what she's doing each time, and I love how you see her through these different levels until she comes to that full, transformation, and you're like, what? And that's where it gets a big old chill factor into that when she finally, transforms. Let's go back to the book when Elizabeth's looking at the book. I love how you did the visual effects with Lani in the scene when she's looking at the book, and I love how you had the visual effects where you can see like the certain spell symbols coming out of the book where she's like turning the pages.
Yeah.
That was wild.
That was, Stephen Rosenthal, who shot the movie. Great guy, very talented. He also edited, and it's pretty simple. I mean, he just took layers. So he took the book and he shot that, and then he shot. He took the close-up of Lani,
yeah,
and he just kind of layered over shots from the book. He tinted it reddish and various other colors. We then he took some of the footage from the scene where Lani's outside, staring into the flames. So then he took that and layered that over everything else. And I thought it was highly effective.
I thought it was brilliant. Whoever did it, I liked it. Let's talk it. Yeah. The visual effects in the movie, I really enjoyed, and I also loved the editing of the film. You did a good job editing. I'm a real sucker for that. I always like to look at the editing, but you did.
That was Steven. I mean, I was there for most of it, but yeah, he's a guy. He's got this big rig, screens, dials, buttons, all kinds of things. When I'm like, I'm used to taking one piece of film and this piece of film, and you put them together and you splice them. And he's got like just these massive machines with all kinds of neat little, he can tweak it one way and tweak it another, and he'll be like, oh, let's try this, let's try that, let's try the other thing. And then finally you get, oh, that's it, stop, don't touch anything else. That's the one. So, yeah, it was fun. It's about 6 months to edit, roughly. Off and on, but yeah.
Now let's talk. Let's talk about the music score. There's a good music score is always good in any type of horror film. I love the creepy, disturbing score you put in the film for Elizabeth. There's like certain scenes. Each of the score, the song, would have that disturbing, like behavioral type of atmosphere where she gets really uncomfortable and is getting ready to just blow up. I love how you did that in certain scenes and made that film score part of the film, like the character too, which affected Elizabeth.
Yeah. Other than the piano, there's no actual music. It's all sound design, and that would be Joan Malik and Max Seeler, who did all of that. So it's just layers of natural sounds, artificial sounds, weirdness that they...
I liked it.
They did a fantastic job. I mean, it's fantastic. But, Lani is the only real musician here. So she did the... Yeah. Lani, what music did you play? I don't remember offhand. You did something by Beethoven, I think it was.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the piece.
Yeah. But you also made up some music, right? When you were playing. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I learned one piece, but then David would say action, and I'd finish that piece of the piece that I knew, and then it wasn't a cut, so we just kept going. So most of the songs I played were made up because we were still going.
Right, right. Well, my idea was that the house was kind of telling her, I want you to write a piece of music for me. And so she's kind of listening to the house and trying to figure out what exactly it wants. So, yeah, that was the idea.
Hey, that was a bonus. She was really playing the piano too. Dude, I give you props for that, because I was gonna ask her if she was really playing the piano, because sometimes in some films, the actor's really playing, and there's some other films where the actor's not really playing because they don't know how to play. That's amazing.
You know how to play. It was a bonus.
That was a part of my audition. I had to send you a tape of me playing the piano.
Yeah, or something. A keyboard of. Did we? I was trying to remember. Did we hook up on backstage? Was that okay? I thought so. Yeah. You were like. I looked at a lot of actors. We went through a lot of actors. I think 100 would probably make sense. And then you came in at like the last minute. I was thinking, oh God, I can't. No, they're not. None of them were right. Not really. Yeah. And the maybes were kind of like, once they saw the script and once they realized, oh, I'm on screen like 100% of the time. I have to be, the weight of this film is on me and me alone. And I think there were a few who were like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this. And it's like, I understand that, because it's a lot of pressure. And then Lani sent me did you send me an audition tape first? I think you did. I could be wrong. But then I was like, oh, okay, she's got an interesting look. I like the audition. Can she play piano? And she could. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the story, here's the script. And she was like, yeah, I'm in. So like, okay, yes, you are.
Look at Lani. She's just sitting there laughing away. Now, let's talk about the makeup, because Lani, wore a lot of makeup, and it was horrific and creepy, especially like the little warts on her skin, how she was peeling that and oozing that. That gave me the heebie-jeebies. So, Lani, what was it like to have all that makeup on, and plus you just picking at those little oozing like warts on your hand? Was that creepy to you?
Oh my God, it was so fun. It was so fun. We would just they'd put it on me, and we would be shooting, and like all of us would be looking at the screen just like fascinated, and Dave would be like, more. Yeah, let's put more goop on it. More. So we were all just like fascinated by it was so fun.
I was fascinated by it too. I felt like I wanted to reach my hand through the screen and like poke at it a little bit too. Now, let's talk about your full transformation with all that makeup. How long did it take you to get all that makeup on to finish your final transformation of this demonic type of witch type of character?
I'm trying to remember. I know it was hours.
Yeah. Amanda Damon was our makeup effects person, and the final transformation was some prosthetics, or latex mask and some other. I think it was a latex mask, a chest piece, a few other pieces. But even then, she had to make it up. She had to color it, and but yeah, I think we were talking at least 2-3 hours. So but it was very effective. I mean, I thought.
That was pretty good. I was satisfied with the ending. I didn't see it going that way, but I was pretty satisfied with it. After the film, I was like, I can accept this. I'm satisfied. Because I was thinking of all different types of situations, what could have happened to Elizabeth. But like I said, I was fine with the ending.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, no spoilers. But
yeah, no spoilers. Don't say no spoilers. No.
Right. Yeah. It seemed to me to be the only logical ending. I didn't. I guess let's not say too much more.
No, don't. That's why this is a spoiler-free podcast. That's why I'm asking certain things. I don't want to ruin it for someone who wants them, because I'm not one of those guys to be like, oh, you're that guy that spoils everything. Shame on you.
Yep. I mean, if it had already been out for a year or so, then maybe. But yeah, not yet. We'll hold that for the next one.
So, when you came up with this idea, creating Elizabeth in the schoolhouse, when you came up with the idea of the story, was it something about in your life, or was it like something traumatic? Did you have anything in your life because some filmmakers, like when they make horror films, they'll do something out of their life, or something like a traumatic, experience that happened to them, where they come up with this type of story.
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, not for this particular film anyways. I'm more interested in characters who are kind of alone, who are isolated, whose mental stability is in question right from the get-go. I get some inspiration comes from what's the film by Roman Polanski, Repulsion, with Catherine Deneuve.
Oh, okay.
Basically it's the whole film about this woman who's, her mental state isn't so stable to start, and then throughout the film it just becomes, she sinks deeper and deeper into that madness.
Okay.
And so that was certainly one of my inspirations, or one of my influences.
Okay.
But then I'm also interested in ambiguity and mystery, and like when she's looking through the old newspapers, and she finds books, and as I said earlier, the idea being like, are these people? Are they friends? Are they relatives? Are they just random? Who's this nude woman? Is she my grandmother? Is she no one at all? And so that I like to believe. I want the audience to think. I want them to.
You got me thinking.
Not to be like, oh, well, this happened because of that, and blah blah blah. It's like, well, what was that about, or who was that? And wait a minute, what about that other thing? I think if you come away from a film with more questions than when you started, that's a good thing.
I think so too. Lani, so have you done other horror films before, or was this like your first horror film?
I have done 2 other, like, very small budget ones. But this was obviously, like, when David first sent me the script, I was thrilled, because I had never been approached doing something like a one-woman. The challenge was insane. So I've never done anything like this before.
Hey, that's pretty awesome, though. I mean, I did. Hey, I loved your role, for real. I did. I mean, you did pretty good. What David put you through and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And you nailed Elizabeth to the T. I can really see somebody like that in real life, like Elizabeth, going through all that, through her mind or wherever, like a horror film, because you really don't know what's really going through their heads. I mean, they can think of so many, like different things, but I give you kudos, Lani. You played that good, very mental. I loved it. Yeah.
Well, I think David really set me up for success because one, he created a playground for all of us that, you know, play in the space. But then two, that ambiguity, he would just be like, we don't owe anybody anything. Like, you don't need to feel a certain way. You don't have to enjoy it, but you don't have to hate it. Like, that's what I love about Elizabeth, because in some moments she is uncomfortable, but in some moments she loves it. She is being seduced. She's very acceptable and beautiful. And so it isn't a one-note experience for her, which I thought was really awesome to play. And David encouraged that in the performance.
One of the things that I would tell Lani would be I didn't want to see the emotion on the surface. I wanted the emotion to be under the surface, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So almost like her face would not change, or not change that much. It would be very subtle. And I wanted her to hold the emotion, the fear or anger or whatever inside. But you can still see it. It still radiates out, but it radiates very softly. But you can see it. And I think that's that makes for a much more powerful performance. And that when she does explode or when she does erupt, it makes it that much more jarring.
I think so too. Now let's switch this around. Okay, Lani, say you decided you're going to write a horror feature film and you were going to put David as the main role. What type of character and type of horror film would you put David through?
I put him on a small fishing boat in a bog, and we'd have 5 cameras all around this very small bog, and we'd have him out there fishing, and it's his psychotic, beautiful experience catching fish, but they become more and more horrible as he catches them. I don't know. Maybe this is going too far, but now I'm excited.
I kind of like that.
I like that, Lani. Why don't you write a short horror film about that? Put him in like a Lovecrafting style. I'm liking this. She's really getting into it. She's like, "Ooh, yeah, I can do this and this."
Yeah. And the fish are more and more mutated and horrible. And he
some you love, some you don't.
Yeah, he's stuck on the boat. He has to eat the fish to survive, and they're really, I like it.
All right, we'll see. When do we shoot
it? Hey, I like this. I'm being for real. I like to see Lani write a horror film.
Yeah, no, writing's never been my thing. I love acting, but maybe someday.
Right on. So,
it could happen.
Yeah. So, what's your go-to horror film? Do you have that one horror film where you can just go to and watch over and over again when you're not in front of the screen or writing or behind the camera? Do you guys have that type of horror film that it just makes you feel good about yourself and you can just watch it over and over again?
I think my favorite horror film is Suspiria.
Ooh, I love yes.
Dario Argento. I actually saw it when it first came out. So back in the day on the screen, big screen, and I typically watch it every couple of few years because it's so striking, and the lighting and the style, and just I love the idea of, I guess, what I call nightmare logic. So it's a film that if you look at it logically, it makes no sense. There's things that that are. Why is there a room full of wires? What in a big and why is there a window in this room that's full of wire? Makes no sense. But in terms of like dream logic or nightmare logic, then it's like, yeah, it makes sense as long as it makes sense within the confines of the movie itself. Anything goes. So yeah, and of course the lighting and Art was a master. I mean, he really is. So that's probably my go-to.
What about you, Lani?
Well, in my early days,
her early days.
I really loved Mother.
Okay.
I loved Mother, but David sent me Possession, and now that's what I watch.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that's Possession.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Am I allowed? It's available, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, her performance in Possession was what I watched several times before starting this film.
Ooh, okay. I definitely have to check out Possession. But if you like something like
you have to.
I'm going to.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. It's I would say, if not Suspiria, then Possession is would probably be my next choice, because that's just. Make sure. I don't know if Shudder's still showing it, but they had the 4K restored version.
I'll have to check that out. I've heard of it.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
I definitely will. My go-to film I can watch over again is the original Phantasm. I just love Scorsese's like work, camera work, everything, man. I can watch that film over, and the late Angus Scrimm, he still gives me the willies today, man. That deep voice and tall man, and that scene where you see the young boy in the bed and he's standing right behind him in the bed, just like giving that demonic look. It just, you're like, he better not be calling me boy, because I'll be going that way.
But that's another example of like nightmare logic, dream logic. I mean, outside of that movie, it doesn't make sense, but inside that movie, it makes perfectly good sense. Yeah.
I loved it.
Saw who was the director?
Don Scorsese.
Yeah, I was at the Toronto Film Festival. He was there with Bruce
Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, and they were screening the Elvis movie that they did.
Okay.
The name
Bubba Hotep. It was Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep. Yeah, that was so good, and they were hilarious. They were great. So yeah, that's. I love that whole arc, the whole Phantasm arc. It's just very imaginative. To say the least.
He's very imaginative. One of my other films he did, a lot of people didn't know too, was the original Beastmaster of Mark Singer. He did that film too.
Oh, yeah. Oh man, I haven't seen that in forever. Yeah.
Gosh. Yep. That makes me.
And, who was the actress?
Tanya Roberts and Mark Singer.
Okay. Yeah. Jeez.
Lani, you got to see Beastmaster. You would love that movie. That movie's a classic, man.
Yep.
So, what's your guys' next projects you're going to be doing next?
I'm spending quite a bit of time marketing this one.
Okay.
But I'm working with an actor. She's an actor. She's a performance artist. Her name is Corey Cowley.
Okay.
And she does like extreme horror. She works with like some Norwegian death metal bands.
Oh, that's crazy.
All kinds of really odd things. Her makeup often employs bodily fluids. I'll just leave it at that. And yet, she is the nicest person you've ever wanted to meet. So very strange. Quite a dichotomy there. But we were looking at doing a film. It's almost it's almost a psychological thriller, rape, revenge film. We were looking at shooting in November in Tennessee, where she's from, but bit of a problem with the financing, so
Gotcha.
we've pushed that to 2025, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's. But right now, my main focus is this movie, getting the word out, and hopefully capturing as many eyeballs as possible.
So, are you going to put it in film festivals, or are you going straight to distribution?
It's already right now. It's you can either buy it or rent it on Fandango.
Okay.
So it's available there. It's supposed to hit Amazon soon. I don't know exactly when, within the next few weeks.
Gotcha.
And it's also supposed to hit Apple TV.
Gotcha.
And it should be eventually most cable video on demand channels should be offering it.
Nice.
So I would say probably within the next month it should be everywhere.
Nice. And you, Lani, what are you going to be doing next? What can we see what you're doing next so I can see what you're going to be doing next so I can follow you?
So I'm back in the theater world. That's where my training is. I have a bachelor's and then a master's in acting on the stage.
Nice.
So I am in the final round of callback for Macbeth.
Wow.
Dark. I would
Are
love
you Lady Macbeth?
No, I want to be Macbeth. Come on, David.
Oh.
Yeah, she wants to be Macbeth. Macbeth. Why not? Let her be Macbeth, damn it.
Well, I've cut my hair. Come on.
Spot.
And then I'm puppeteering for different productions this summer as well. But I told my agent, I was like, if you have a good horror film that comes along, please let me know, because I just felt like horror film sets are so much more interesting and exciting and free than any just like everyone's. Maybe it's just yours, David. I
think it's just mine. Yeah, I think I have the best side.
Fine, David, hire me again.
I will as soon as I can. Absolutely.
Hey, anybody listen to this, hire Lani. I like to see her in more horror films. I also like to see her in a role as like a final girl kicking ass.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. With a chainsaw. Right?
Oh shoot, dude! I could see her with a chainsaw.
You what?
I could see her with a chainsaw and a sawed-off shotgun, and I can see her with like some type of a sword. You know, she's a master swordsman that no one doesn't know, and she just starts using her skills to protect her friends from the beast.
She's got all the weapons.
Yes. Please.
Lani versus the Evil Dead.
We'll have so fun shooting this film.
Hey, I would watch it.
I'm going to have a boat in the middle of the bog.
Yeah, where's David?
Fishing.
That is so funny. You guys, thank you so much for coming on. I had a blast. Thank you for coming out of your busy schedule.
It was so good to see you again, David.
Good to see you, Lani. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Keep in touch, please. And I'll send you more reviews as I stumble upon them.
Yes.
Send her some crazy ones like, it was maddening, or I had to leave because she was messing with my head through the screen and it caused me to do something stupid, but I had to leave before I did it.
Yeah. I love the bad reviews. I haven't posted any of them because they all say the same thing. They just, it's too slow. It's like, no, it's as slow as it needs to be. It's not too slow. It's exactly as slow as it needs to be.
Yeah, it was a slow burn, but like it wasn't super slow like everybody says. It did, get to the point. So I don't know why everybody was saying it was just so slow. It wasn't really that slow.
And it never actually stops. I mean, it's always you're always moving forward in one way or another. So, yeah. But I think there's well, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but there's a significant number of horror fans that they want that instant gratification. They want those jump scares, and they want them now. So they don't want to wait for anything to happen. They have to think about it. That's not a criticism. That's just reality of the market.
Yeah, it's facts. So you have to do what you got to do.
Right. So
this feels like it truly feels like a love story, like a love song, or just I don't know. It felt like sometimes I think of Kristen Stewart's Diana or something that she just recently did. Are you familiar?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Love Like Bleeding?
It wasn't Diana.
No, it was like Stewart or something.
I'm trying to think.
Kristen Stewart?
Anyway, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
But I just think of it as like, it's a love story. It's a piece of song, and like indie horror slow burn films. So.
Hey, that works for me. But anyways, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, man. Really,
no, thank you, Lani. And you better write that horror film about him on the fishing boat. If you don't,
I will.
You better.
Yep.
I'll be getting the script soon. Don't worry.
All right. And everybody have a great evening. Thank you for listening to Horror Pop After.